Today, we're going to dive into a really unique story from Indian history. It's about a battle where the prize wasn't land or gold, but something way more valuable: honor. This is the incredible story of the Battle of Uttala, a fight that wasn't really against an enemy, but between allies.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever heard of a battle that was fought not against some invading army, but purely and simply for honor? Well, the answer is a huge yes, and it takes us right into the heart of the amazing Rajput warrior culture. All right, so this legendary conflict is known as the Battle of Uttala, and it's a huge deal in the history of Mewar, not because of any territory that was won, but because of this unbelievable display of what it meant to fight for your name and your legacy.
Yeah, this really wasn't your typical battle. There was no foreign invader to fight off. This was all internal. Think of it as a fierce competition between allies to prove who was the bravest, who had the most prestige, and who, ultimately, deserved the right to lead.
So, what was this prize they were literally willing to die for? It all boils down to one powerful word: hurrah. Let's break down exactly what that meant and why it carried so much weight.
The Harawal was the vanguard. It was the absolute tip of the spear. If you held this position, you had the incredible honor of leading the very first charge into battle. You were the first to face the enemy, the first to draw blood.
And this was about so much more than just battlefield strategy. Leading the Harawal was basically a public announcement. It meant your clan was officially seen as the bravest, the most skilled, the absolute top dogs in the entire Mewar army. It was a symbol of valor that was, for them, truly worth dying for.
And of course, in honor, this massive sparked a legendary rivalry between two of Mewar's most powerful clans. So let's meet the main players in this drama: the Chundawats and the Shaktawats.
So on one side, you have the Chundawats, and on the other, the Shaktawats. Both were incredibly brave Rajput clans. Both were fiercely loyal to Mewar. But they were also locked in this rivalry for supremacy that went back generations.
So just picture this. You've got these two powerful clans, both totally essential to the kingdom's military strength. They fought side by side for Mewar, but right below the surface was this intense competition, with both of them desperate for that single, ultimate prize: leading the Harawal.
Okay, so we've got the prize and we've got the rivals, but where did this extraordinary contest actually take place? Well, the stage for all this drama was a fortress known as Uttala.
This whole conflict went down at the fort of Uttala. If you were looking for it today, you'd find it near the modern-day town of Valor in the state of Rajasthan in India. And here's a cool little historical fact for you. The older, local name for this place was Unto Kadera. It's these little details that really bring a story like this to life.
So just to quickly recap the key points here. The location was Uttala. The fighters were the rival Chundawat and Shaktawat clans. The whole point was to win the Harawal. And its legacy? Well, it's this powerful legend of honor and bravery that people still talk about to this day.
Now this brings us to what might be the most interesting part of the Battle of Uttala. Its fame and its power don't really come from dusty old history books. They come from something else entirely. This is a legend that has, in a lot of ways, become even bigger than recorded history.
See, here's the thing. If you were to go looking for this battle in the major historical texts, you probably wouldn't find very much. Unlike those huge, well-documented wars like Panipat or Kanwa, detailed records about Uttala are pretty hard to come by.
As one source puts it, it is mostly known as a war saga based on local tradition and historical memories. This story survived because of storytellers, because of folklore, and because of the people who made sure the memory was kept alive.
And that's where the real importance of the Battle of Uttala lies. It lives on in these epic tales of bravery, and what it teaches us about the idea of honor, in the absolutely heart-wrenching stories of sacrifice, and in its permanent, cherished place in Mewari folklore.
And that really leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Why is it that some stories, passed down from one generation to the next, can become even more powerful than the facts written down in history books? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this one.